Well, welcome to the call, everyone. My name is Dr. Curt Ficenec. I'm a chiropractor. I haven't practiced chiropractic now in 10 years, not traditional chiropractic anyhow. And it really wasn't by choice. I was involved in a motorcycle accident August 27th of 2007. A guy ran a stop sign, hit me at about 65 miles an hour, and nearly tore my right leg off. And I tell people this story. I mean, you got to visualize it. I mean, when I woke up after getting knocked unconscious, my right foot was up by my ear, and I'm not a very flexible person. But when I looked down, my pant leg was torn, and the femur was sticking out through a hole there, and luckily none of the major arteries were torn, and the nerves weren't ripped. But my bone was just shattered from the knee down to the foot. It was shattered into a million pieces, and luckily I had some great surgeons that put me back together like Humpty Dumpty, and it took a number of years to get back. But here I am 10 years later, and I continue to get better. Last week I was out in Utah. I was hunting up in the mountains and hiking around up there, and I just, I had a lot of time to sit and reflect and think about things, and it continues to amaze me how much better I'm getting, even 10 years after the injury. And so many times doctors tell their patients, that, well, this is as good as it's going to get, and 50% of people go home and listen, and that's exactly it. And I talk to my parents about this a lot. My dad will turn 80 this year, and I say, just think about all the people that that have been convinced that somehow at that age you just are supposed to get sick, and they do, and you're supposed to take this medication, and many people do. I remember when my mom turned 70, her doctor prescribed a medication, and I kind of gave my mom this weird look, and I shook my head a little bit. I'm like, why? You don't even have a problem with that. And she said, well, the doctor said, well, you're at this age, you need to be on this medication. And I thought, really? Is that really how they look at it? That you're at this age, here's the protocol, right? It's like having an automobile, and they say change the oil at this mileage, change the transmission fluid at this mileage, do this, rotate the tires, all these different things. But we aren't cars, we aren't automobiles, and so how can you have scheduled maintenance on scheduled things to do on the human body that involve pharmaceuticals if there isn't a health problem? And think about that. Think about that. How many people do you know have gone through that? If I'd listened to my doctors, I was in a coma for 2 days, and when I came out of the coma, the first thing they wanted to do, I still had dry, crusty blood on my face and across my body from the accident. First thing they told me is that, you've got 5 minutes. We got to decide, are we going to amputate your leg? And they told me because I was a doctor, they were letting me make that decision, because most people wouldn't have had a choice. They would have just, when I woke up out of the coma, I would have been missing my leg. And here I am 10 years later, my leg, it's got arthritis in it. And I can feel like, as I'm sitting here talking to all of you on the phone, I can bend my foot and I can tell that it's not right. But do I have to take anything for it? Absolutely not. Meanwhile, a friend of mine did have his leg amputated, and he's in horrible pain. So we just got to wonder, do they know everything that they need to know? And my answer is absolutely not. I was reading an article this morning. A friend of mine in Australia sent me an article by a group of mathematicians at the University of Arizona, and they said that it's hogwash that living forever is not possible. Well, of course it's not possible. You can't live forever. And they went on to talk about that, and they said that aging is inevitable. Well, yes, it is. I mean, we are going to age. The cells are eventually going to get to that point. But if we can keep everything kind of in a check and balance, right, so that the good things that are supposed to happen continue to happen, and the bad things that happen, we can slow them down and prevent them till the end. That's what healthy aging is all about. And so I don't think these mathematicians get it. And I went to school for engineering before I went into chiropractic, so I've got a lot of math behind me and a lot of physics. And so I know where they're coming from. I hung around with these type of people, and it's cut and dry. It's black and white on how they look at things, and that's the problem, But, man, I'll tell you what, you get one of those guys to see what we're doing, you get them to try the age pill, they're probably one of your best prospects because they'll go, holy cow, something really is happening here. But anyhow, that's kind of my opening today, my thoughts. Maybe you want to call it my monologue. Thank God last night on the Jimmy Kimmel show, they had Shaq on there, and they didn't have any political things on the monologue. It was so nice to watch that without Jimmy Kimmel on there. Thank God. But anyhow, today I've got an exciting story to bring you and share with you. It's actually not my story. Allan Hordal, are you there?
I sure am.
Well, Allan, thanks for joining us today on short notice. I know it was only 3 or 4 minutes before the call time, and I asked you to join me and share your story. I mean, you've gone through some heartache and some troubles of your own, and about the same time that I was going through my motorcycle wreck that winter, or maybe the winter before, you had been in a snowmobile wreck. And so kind of give everybody a history of what your body's gone through in the last 10 years or so.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thanks, Dr. Curt, for asking me to come on the call. And first of all, I'm not new to Sizzle, by the way, folks. I'm just about in my 7th year being with Sizzle, and what brought me to Sizzle wasn't anything to do with network marketing, wasn't anything to do with MLM, and had to do, even though I was in the industry for many years, it had to do with putting my body back together, and I knew the only place that I could go, actually, to be honest with you, that I knew I could get honest, great products, and that was through Mr. Tom Maurer, and that's how I actually came to Sizzle. Because 11 years ago this December, I was in a horrific snowmobile crash, very similar to Dr. Curt's snowmobile or motorcycle, and well, I was clinically dead in the actual accident. I severed the sclavian artery of the heart. I tore the brachial plexus out of my shoulder from the T1 to the T7. I bled out internally, and there was virtually no hope for me by the time they got me to the hospital, which was about 15 miles away. We didn't have choppers back then, so I had to wait for an ambulance. And to make a long story short, a couple of buddies of mine literally stripped me naked in minus 25-degree weather and covered me with snow and it clotted the blood in the subclavian artery and to stop a lot of the flow of the blood coming out of the heart. And so in saying that, they were able to get me back to hospital and were able to give me blood transfusion, warm me, and actually kickstart and revitalize the heart. And eventually I started coming around, but I was in a coma for quite some time. But to make a long story short, I went through major surgeries. I went through nerve transplant surgeries, muscle transplant surgeries, trapezius transplant surgeries, latissimus dorsi transplant surgeries, just so that I wouldn't let them cut my arm off. And things like that. So they used all kinds of parts of my body to put back other parts of my body. And then about 5 years after that, I was diagnosed with coronary artery disease. I was diagnosed with a 98% blockage in one, possibly two of my arteries that go to the heart. So I had to go undergo a open heart surgery, actually very serious open heart surgery, because they had to get me in right away. And lo and behold, they not only found 2 blockages, they found 6 blockages, over 80%. So I wound up having a quadruple bypass, which worked very, very well. Came out of that very strong, thanks to a lot of the Sizzle products and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, 2 years after the open heart surgery, a year and a half, maybe 2 years after, it was around Christmas time 2 years ago, I wound up with atrial fibrillation caused by the surgery of the open heart surgery, which is about 6% of what happens for open heart patients. So I wound up having to go back in and get help, have an ablation to try to straighten that out, because we tried everything. We tried the shock treatments and everything else, didn't work. And so I went in for an ablation, where they go in and into your veins and go up into your heart and try to freeze the node and be able to put it back into rhythm. Well, it worked. It worked fine. I went back to my room. I was supposed to be in there one day, let out that night. I was 45 minutes back into the room. I dropped all blood pressure, dropped heart rate. I went code blue. And if you don't even know what code blue is in a hospital, it's cardiac arrest. And you're not gonna probably come out of it. Well, lo and behold, I had doctors rushed in, and one of the doctors that I had my surgery done by, he was actually on duty, and he came in, injected me with a drug, which got the heart rate going, and wheeled me down to the operating room, and he implanted a pacemaker. So here I am now, 11 years later, with a body banged up. And you have to remember, before my accident, I was an athlete. I played professional hockey, amateur hockey. I raced snowmobiles. I was pretty active and pretty damn good shape too. And so 11 years later, and in my 50s, now into my 60s, 62 I am now, my body all went to hell. Not only the time that your body does start aging at a faster rate in the 50s, well, mine even sped up even deeper and deeper, and faster and faster. And so, and the drugs. I mean, I was on, I was on heart medication. I was on blood pressure. I wound up with diabetes. I was on metformin. I was on a cholesterol pill. Yeah, you got it. And I wasn't a happy camper. I just wasn't a happy person. And so about 4 months ago, I decided, I was really going to start to take a hold of my body. I knew something was going on inside my body. I didn't know what it was, but something was going on. But I thought I better start working out, I better start exercising, and I better start doing it. And I started doing that, and along came the age product. So I started taking the age product, and lo and behold, my body, I started dropping weight. I started feeling better, but I still had problems in my prostate. I still had problems in my stomach, my bladder, and I was having some problems. So I went into the doctor, and I was diagnosed with having, we went to the first diagnosis of my blood test, which actually didn't show anything. My PSA was good, and but my urine test and everything, there was blood in the urine, and there was also cancer cells, both in the bladder and in the kidneys. So they ordered ultrasounds, CT scans. So to make a long story short, which is already long, I underwent 3 months of solid, I'm talking solid, and Curt knows this, of in hospitals, in doctors' offices, in ultrasounds and CT scans. And trust me one thing, folks, my doctor is the most amazing doctor there is. This man not only believes in alternative medicines, but he also believes in really coming and finding out exactly what's going on. So he put me through everything. Then I went to see the specials in Saskatoon. You might have been following my posts on Facebook. I wasn't telling who had cancer or what had cancer or what was going on, but a lot of you people were following and wondering what the heck I was doing in so many hospitals and so many doctors' offices and yada, yada, yada. Well, that's why. And I didn't want to disclose it to anybody. Well, yesterday I went back for my final results, and I was scared as hell. I'll admit it. I was absolutely terrified to go into that doctor's office yesterday. And I actually, a month ago, I gave him a bottle of the age product and told him to take a look at it and take a look into it, and which I know my doctor would do. And so I went back yesterday, and he read the reports from Saskatoon, from the specialist, the cancer specialist in Saskatoon, actually 2 cancer specialists. And in that report, the cancer cells that we had found in the bladder and the kidneys have all of it virtually disappeared. There is no tumors whatsoever in any parts of my body. My lungs are, in fact, my lungs are the lungs of a 30-year-old. My bladder, my kidneys are absolutely perfect, except for a couple small cysts in the inside of the bladder, he says, which is not common at a person your age. And I'm going to do a Facebook Live on this, folks, and you can actually see the copy, and I'll read the actual paperwork that I got back from the doctor. I'll be doing that in the next couple of days. But what we discussed there was, I asked him, okay, are we going to do any treatment? I really don't want to go through the chemo pill, which works very similar to the chemo. He says, no, Allan, he says, we're actually not going to have to treat anything. He says, you're treating it right now with the age pill. And I says, I really think so. And he says, so do I. He says, because what the age pill does is it rebuilds cells. And that was the biggest thing, is that these cancer cells could have been old, they could have been new, they really don't know. But when they did the inside on the endoscopy, they did tests on the kidneys and the bladder, everything came back normal, which we didn't have 3 months ago. And those cells were gone, completely gone. So in saying that, and now, and the good news is that this never detracted me from my workouts. This never detracted me. In fact, it enhanced my workouts, where I was doing anywhere from 10 to 15 miles a day in intervals of about 3 times a day. I dropped over 50. Well, I'm over 50 pounds of weight loss now. We didn't have the RIP product until a month ago, so I wasn't able to get on the RIP product until a month ago. I had got on the RIP product and started using that. I gave that to the doctor yesterday, and so now, right now, I'm 100% cancer free, no tumors. I will go back in 30 days just to do an ultrasound on those small cysts that are in the bladder, which we're not concerned about whatsoever. And as of right now, and in fact, in the report that the doctor, the specialist, which I had seen twice before on other things in Saskatoon, so I knew this doctor or this specialist quite well, actually, he said in the report, this is a 62-year-old man that's absolutely remarkable shape. His bladder, his kidneys, his heart, or his lungs. He says, this is a man has come back from death to absolutely perfect health, even with the cancer cells. And this is all in the report. And I've never seen a doctor actually put that kind of information in a report and call somebody remarkable, or tell somebody that, or tell another doctor of how incredible this person has been able to bring their life back. And I'm not making any claims here whatsoever. I will not make claims that our products cure, treat, or and we do not diagnose anything. What I'm trying to say to you, and I'm giving my own personal testimony, nobody else's testimonial, is that this is what the product has done for me. And I just got off the phone with Leslie over in New York City, a girl that I brought into the business about a month and a half ago. And Leslie said to me, and I've known Leslie for several years, a remarkable, young, beautiful, in her 50s woman. And she says, Allan, I just want to talk to you this morning. She says, I'm just going to tell you, she says, your attitude, your way of life, the way, she says, is 100% different than you were a year ago. She says, what's changed? And so I shared this with her an hour ago, and she said, I knew something was up. I just know it because I know you so well. I knew something was up. And that's where we're at today. And I just want to tell each and every one of you on this call this morning, one thing I'm going to say is do not take your life for granted. Do not take your life for granted. I was coming home last night. Tina and I were driving back last night, and I even told this to Leanne at the doctor's office when I came out of the doctor's office. I actually broke down and cried. I cried like a baby because I just said, God has given me another chance. This is the fourth in a row. I mean, you say a cat's got 9 lives. I guess I got 5 more to go, but he's given me another chance at life again. And I want to tell each and every one of you, if you're not going to share this story with somebody, and I will do a Facebook Live tomorrow if you all want to jump on it. If not, it'll be recorded. It'll be on my Facebook. If I'm not on your Facebook, add me. But I am going to come out probably tomorrow or Thursday and give a Facebook Live on this, and it's going to shake a lot of people up. But I've got backing from doctors and 3 months of testing, rigorous testing, going from having cancer cells to maybe even partially tumors to virtually having no cancer cells. In fact, no detectable cancer cells right now, no tumors whatsoever. And I've walked away with a clean bill of health. By the way, I've been diabetes-free for 2 years now because of the Cisaline, and now with the Age product. The RIP, I'm not going to go down the road of diabetes because it's a muscle product. But Age and Cisaline, absolutely. My cholesterol is 1.48. It's never ever been on that low in probably my whole life. And now I'm off my cholesterol pills. So I'm off metformin. I'm off my cholesterol pills, and my blood pressure is 121/71. A year ago to this day, my blood pressure was 178/125. That's even after my open heart and everything, and then dropping the 50 pounds. So if you don't believe that products that sizzle manufacturers make or products that Tom Maurer and his formulators make don't make an impact in the world, well, I'm living proof of it for 7 years now. It makes a huge impact. And I'm going to tell you, those drugs I just named you, $185 that I'm saving each and every month. And I'm now putting back proper nutrition into my body, which I've been doing for 7 years anyway, but it's taken now. So, I mean, diabetes is the fastest growing disease out there. Cancer is the most baddest ass diseases you can get. In fact, my girlfriend's sister is battling breast cancer right now and having a hell of a time. In fact, I haven't seen my girlfriend for virtually twice in 6 months because she's been looking after her twin sister. And I'm going to tell you something, it's no fun. But guess what? It's a whole different story for when I woke up this morning. It was a whole different story when I went to bed last night. And if you want to change your story and you want to change your life, and if you want to stay young, even though if you don't maybe have cancer or never had a high blood pressure or maybe never had diabetes, but you're over the age of 50, guess what? It's coming, and it's coming fast unless you stop it now. So thanks a lot, Dr. Curt. I know I went a little overboard on my testimonial, but I think it's something I had to share this morning and really share it from my heart and understand, where I've been in the last 3 months, where I've been in the last 11 years to where I am today. And I've been doing this industry now. I'm in my 40th year. So what I've battled in the last 11 years has not been really a battle of finding the right products because I found those in Sizzle. So back to you, Curt.
Hey, Allan, thanks for sharing that. What an exciting testimonial. I mean, I've known you for a number of years, and really, like your friend in New York said, you are a changed person. I mean, just your attitude, just how you sound, the energy in your voice, it's different today than it was a year ago. And that's, it's easy to find out, too. People can go back and listen to recordings from a year ago. But what an exciting testimonial. Allan, I know you know a lot about the industry, the network marketing industry, things like that. As people share this, as they share this call, the recording of this call with others, the thing that we have to really get across is that, in your opinion, right, you can share whatever you want. You could say, in my opinion, and isn't that correct? As they go out and share this call, share this testimonial with others.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's like when I even just talked about a little bit of a disclaimer I put there. When we talk about products of this magnitude or any products in the industry, and when you say in my opinion, and it's like I said, in my opinion. And in not only my opinion, my doctor's opinion, that the Age product has done some serious stuff with me in the last 3 months. Not only with the cancer cells, but one thing that people say, well, what do I say to people? How do I explain, or how do I get? And it's really, really simple. It truly is really, really simple. Use my testimonial. You can use my testimonial. There's no problem with that, because what I've said is absolutely 100% truth. I'm not embellishing anything. I have the documents to back it up from doctors. And when you say to people, and somebody says to you, I've never heard of it. Well, have you heard of cancer? Have you heard of diabetes? Have you heard of anti-aging? Or have you heard of aging? And he says, well, that's happening now. And I said, well, all you have to do is share the video of Tom's, share my testimonial, and even when I do that timeline tomorrow, take that timeline, put your name on it, use me as testimonial, and just share it with people. And once you share with people, I've got people in the last 3 days have come, and one fellow, I'll give you an example. One fellow messaged me 2 nights ago. I was in the hotel in Yorkton, and I'd gone and I worked out in the gym and had a swim and a jacuzzi, and I went back to my room. And I got a message about 9:30 while I was watching the ball game. And he says, I've been following Allan. I've been following you for years. And he says, I respect you so much, he says. But the last few months I've been following what you've been doing and what's happening to you and things like that. Without you saying anything, I knew in the back of my mind what was going on with you. And he says, I want to join. I want to join you guys. I want to be with you guys. I want to start taking these products. And that was, just somebody that was following me. I mean, he was just following my posts. And that's all you need to do is just reach out to people on Facebook and just keep it professional, keep it real, keep it just, you don't have to embellish anything, because we have the products. We have a compensation plan that I think is one of the finest compensation plans in the industry. So, and you can get paid daily. So I tell people, just keep it simple and just tell people, what the heck, buy. Here's what I do. I mean, if they don't want to come in and be part of the wealth builder or whatever it might be, but I tell them, I told this to this gentleman yesterday, I says, go in, buy 2 bottles, because you're going to need 2 bottles. You're going to get it at a special price. You're going to sign up for free. You're going to get it at the wholesale price. I'm going to make 25% directly the very next day into my e-wallet, and you'll do the same once you go and do the same. And I said, get the 2 bottle special, get on it for a month and a half, and double dose it, and then in 90 days, and then go on a next batch, and in 90 days you come back to me. If you don't like the product, I said, I'll refund your money. I actually will. I'll refund his money, because I know it's not going to happen. So it's very simple, Curt. Very, very simple to share this. Don't complicate it.
That's right. And like Allan just said, when you share this testimonial, basically the doctor's clinic call from this morning, you can say, in Allan's opinion, it saved his life, right? And that's how you can say it, and that's how you can start it out, and you can share that with people. And it's really an amazing testimonial. And Allan, like you just said, I've made that guarantee with people. I've got it on the side of my truck, take my 90-day challenge. And so far, the people that have gone on the 90-day challenge, the product's been out for about 90 days now. People have called me up and they say, hey, how do I get more? I need more. They're not calling up saying, how do I get my money back? They're saying, I need more.
The interesting part about that, you made a really, really good point about that. See, I went on my own 90-day challenge. Here's one thing about myself, and Curt will know this too. I'm not going to take somebody else's word for, because products work differently in people's bodies. They do work differently. So what I said, I even told Curt this. I'm going to take the product. I'm going to start my regimen, and I'm going to take this product, and I'm going to take it for a minimum of 90 days. You have to take a product for a minimum of 90 days. And then I started noticing differences within 2 weeks. But at the end of 90 days, when you've dropped over 40 pounds and you feel terrific, even though you're going through some challenges like I was going through, that's amazing stuff. And so now what I want to do is you're going to hear it on the Facebook Live. I'm going to ask people to dedicate to 90 days, to buy the product for 90 days, and come on a 90-day challenge with me. I want to see how many will do that. Come on a 90-day challenge with me, and let's see if we can duplicate. I still got 20 more pounds to drop, folks. I weighed 256 pounds when I started this, and my goal weight is 185. So I still got 20 more pounds to go. So I'm looking for some friends, and I'm looking for some people that want to go on that 90-day challenge now with me, because now I know how to work the 90-day challenge. I know what products you need to be on the Sizzling, you need to be on the Age, you need to be on the Ripped. Those 3 products we need to start immediately. And let's go on that 90-day challenge. And at the end of the 90-day challenge, you haven't changed. Well, guess what? I'll give you your money back. But I know right now there'll be nobody getting their money back, because you are going to change. It doesn't matter. You might change one way, you might change another way. Some people are going to change differently, but you are going to change. I'll give you an example. I'm going to read a testimonial. Curt, give me 2 seconds. I'm serious. I just remembered this from last night. And this is coming from, I'm not going to give her last name. She's a very dear personal friend, another personal friend of mine that's been with me for a long, long time. Her name is Patty, and I'm going to tell you what she wrote to me last night. And her husband is going through some very difficult times. She also gave me some personal information that she needs to get out of the office she's in and go working full time. She says, my husband Pat is having his left eye that has a very dense cataract in it operated on tomorrow, which is this morning. A specialist is doing the surgery, so we're hoping for the best, as he can't see out of this eye. We are taking our Sizzle products faithfully. I've already lost 9 pounds with no effort at all. Now, she signed up 1 month ago. She bought the Sizzling, she bought the Age, the Rip wasn't out, and now she's bought the Ripped. So, and she says, we are taking our Sizzle products faithfully. I've already lost 9 pounds with no effort at all. Pat is feeling not as tired as he was before. His energy levels are up, and we're optimistic about the surgery tomorrow morning. And so when waiting, might try, and she says, I will call you sometime and give you more information. She says, thank God I found Sizzle, and I found Sizzle products. They're already working on us. Now I can go market them.
Wow. Isn't that
pretty
powerful,
cool.
too?
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, Allan, I know we're at the bottom of the hour here, and we've used up our 30 minutes, and man, I appreciate it. Your story, it couldn't have come at a better time. Here we're going into the latter part of the year. It's the best time of the year to get really working with network marketing and sharing stories and helping people, and stories like this will get people interested. It'll build an income for you and an extra income. Who couldn't use that in today's world, and help lower your stress that way? So, Allan, thanks again.
Please add me to your Facebook. It's Allan Hordal, Hordal, and that live is either going tomorrow or it's going to go Thursday, and you're welcome to use it to build all your businesses.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. And get this call out. Share it with a few people. Let them hear what can really happen with these types of products and how powerful they are. It's just amazing. So that's the end of the Sizzle Doctors Clinic for this week. Have a great November, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.